Well, hello, happy day, Sagittarius. As you know, I get these readings out when I want to, or I don't even set times for them. And I know I didn't go live last week. Will definitely be going live this week, probably tomorrow. So if you are around, I will go live around 1 o'clock tomorrow. Kind of tarot lunch, right? So happy spring equinox. And for many of us who, I don't know how I would even say who this is, but we celebrate, this is the new year to us. And so I started doing that once I started getting a little bit into astrology, and it really made sense to me, because so much of Pisces season feels like endings, right? So, this is your chance to start new things. Spring is all about new beginnings and blossoming. And yeah, I love it. I love it. So, I am, one way that I celebrate is always a simmer pot. Now, that's kind of a witchy thing, but not really. I mean, I get a pot full of water, and you can use fruits or herbs or whatever, just to because I believe that there is a lot of healing that can come through scent, through sound. It's not just medicine. So in my simmer pot today is roses and lavender. That's what reminded me of spring, right? So let's get into it, because it feels like there are changes coming in, right? Definitely changes in your relationships. Let me say that. You may find that your friendships are changing, and that really is good for the friendships that you value. I mean, if you're experiencing value in your connections and your friendships, then they're going to deepen and even get more authentic, which is very good for Sagittarius, because I really feel like we don't like these loosey goosey relationships. Like, we like deep conversations and, exploring. Like, if we can't find other people who are interested in doing new things, or learning about new things, I think we get bored. And I feel like what's going to happen here, specifically when it comes to new people, because I do think this is happening, you are going to be connecting with people who have been through kind of the same things as you. And so not only are your real relationships and real connections going to get better, you're going to connect with people who you feel like you're on the same path with, or the same wavelengths, or whatever. And I love that. And that's one major thing here that is changing. And it kind of happens because you do something adventurous. Now, this is very specific, talking about people taking a trip somewhere that has water. And let me just say that one of the things, now, I guess I'm kind of calling it a bucket list, even though I don't think I'm not dying. I guess we're all dying in our own way, but that, when major things happen, we always think about, how we would change our lives, what we would do now that we kind of didn't do before. And for me, that's traveling, like more traveling. I've always been a traveler, but more traveling. So I've been thinking a lot about taking train trips, because I don't trust flying right now with all the plane crashes that have been happening, and so on and so forth. So, it could be that you you could even meet people if you take like a trip to some place that that might be near water. It doesn't necessarily mean the beach, but it might be near water because it's actually going to, and if you weren't thinking that, maybe you should, because it would be very recharging, is what it says. Like, because I was thinking about going to New Orleans, but now I'm thinking maybe go with my original plan to go to the beach. You know? But in any case, this is about doing something that is out of your comfort zone. You know, going, and you're supposed to go somewhere where you haven't been before. That's very important too. And that may be something that you are doing like for the whole season, because the spring equinox is spring, you know, until the summer, or maybe even longer than that, right? So that's interesting. So, who will be influencing you during this is very interesting, because I feel like you're running into a teacher. You're the student in this, Sag. Like, this person is coming in as a mentor, as someone. It's definitely someone who wants to help you. And I love that the knight is here, because this person's very loyal. This is a person who would go to war for you. Definitely a person who wants to help you. Do you learn something from them? Perhaps. You know, they could be a teacher to you in some way. It could also mean that they're older than you. And look, what's very interesting is that learner is on the bottom. You know, so that's the teacher and the student. And I feel like you possibly meet this person in your travels or in your adventuring. I can't even imagine a Sagittarius who doesn't have adventures or doesn't travel. I cannot. I can't even fathom it, because, you know, my father even is a Sagittarius. And he's like, there are times when he doesn't go anywhere, but like, it's like an itch. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's see what surprises are here. Boot is here, telling you to take more action to achieve whatever goals you have set for yourself, but to be careful about your money. Don't be frivolous with your money, for sure, so that you don't lose it. And this is really interesting, because money might be the issue for some people achieving their goals. And there definitely are people here who want to help. And it's very important that you don't let your own pride stand in the way. Like, don't say no because you don't want people to think that you don't need help. You know, and that may be a way that you risk your own money, because it's really interesting, because your message from Spirit is Spirit wants you to find a way to make whatever dream it is that you are thinking about or wanting, to make that a reality despite the circumstances. The Magician, which we know, like, I always think of the Magician and the and Temperance as the alchemists of the tarot, because they make things happen. They take what is currently there and make it better. You know, make it work. And, you know, Spirit wants you to stop thinking that you can't have things or you can't make things happen because you don't have enough money. Five of Pentacles. And it's constantly seeing that as the problem into which you can't have what you want, because it's not true. If you haven't listened to like Tony Robbins, then I don't know who you are, but Tony Robbins is a motivational speaker who created a real estate business from $1. He was down to his last dollar, and he says, we don't worry about how, because resources are always there. Resources are always there. But Spirit wants you to stop thinking in that way. It actually brings you down. It's kind of like breaking your own heart. When you only see problems, especially that Five of Pentacles energy, when you think you're never going to get out of this hole, that you very much can. So what seeds should you be planting, Sag? What is valuable, Sag. You are the Queen of Pentacles. You know how to grow something. You know how to be successful, right? And with the Sun here, the truth is that you could be being called to focus on being happy, and taking care of yourself, opposed to, all of this money BS, right? Because honestly, and the Queen of Pentacles, I feel like, very much values her rest, isn't overly concerned with when things happen. She knows that they will. The Ten of Pentacles and the Moon reverse is kind of saying that there's going to be information that you didn't have before coming to you about wealth, about how what you're building and how to build something lasting, So I kind of feel like for now, maybe you just need to focus on your joy and your happiness, for sure. I love this one too, because it's so, especially with the Queen of Pentacles and the Sun card, there really may be something about how you're thinking in a mature way compared to the excitement of youth. And so, maybe that might be like, maybe Spirit just wants you to be excited, about life and about what you're building, even though maybe it doesn't necessarily, it might not be showing itself to you. I feel like this is also positive. I was hearing health. I feel like this is positive about health too. It's definitely you're receiving information about something enduring. The Ten of Pentacles is getting what we want, but it's also the legacy. And it's for everyone. And the Ten of Pentacles, like, as far as success, of course, that's what we want to see. Because I feel like you're going to get the answers that you want, and you're going to see that something is lasting. And that may be where you didn't see it before, where you didn't see it before. I really love that. Jeez. So what do you need to change, Sag? You need to think more positive. I can't believe I even have to say this. The Star and the Queen of Wands. First off, you need to step into your Queen of Wands energy. And the one thing about the Queen of Wands is the Queen of Wands does not worry about how things work out. She just knows it's like, I really love how another reader explains the Queen of Wands card. She's the learn as you go girl. Whatever you have to do, you will do. And the Star just, the Queen of Wands always thinks positively, and the Star does too. The Star knows that, you can do this. You can fix anything. Look at all that you've fixed already, but that's definitely what you need to think more positively. not thinking the ways, and I see it in a couple places here about how you can't do something or how something is standing in your way, and you almost let that break your heart, and it doesn't need to. There's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? Right. And what you need to let go of, well, Ace of Swords, Ace of Cups. What's funny is the Ace of Wands is on the bottom, is that any of this happens by chance. You know, what's that saying is no one is coming to save you. You don't need someone to save you. You don't need, like, it's also thinking like, I just feel like Ace of Swords, Ace of Cups, it just feels like you constantly think that you need something new to come in and save you, and that isn't true. Ace of Wands, Two of Wands, Three of Wands, King of Swords, Four of Swords. Especially, you know, if there is something, because in the very beginning, I was seeing the Page of Pentacles, and I can't remember exactly what was behind it, but it was kind of a warning to, you know, be very selective about the opportunities that you take. You know, this is the thinking that something's going to come along that is going to be better. You know, work on what you have, you know, or what you have been working on, because it's about to reveal itself in a way that represents longevity. I do think sometimes we are so much about the pivot that when Sagittarius sees that something isn't working, our automatic go-to is let's do something else. I've done it a million times. Matter of fact, I've moved so often because of that. Like, I've lived in 7 different states because of that. And what winds up happening is you always have to start from the bottom. You know, whatever it is that you've been working on or working towards, you're supposed to stick with it. You're supposed to stick with it because it's about to pay off. So, let's get your advice from the animal guides, right? What is the advice from the animal guides? We'll see what the fairies want you to know. What is the advice from the animal guides? It's so nice that it's starting to get warmer now, too. Animal guides. How can you help Sagittarius? How can you help Sagittarius? I keep hearing meditation. Okay. You are safe and protected. All right. Okay, there's changes coming in, and you will be protected through these changes. There is no need for you to fear. And you don't really have to do much. Just be ready. Just kind of be ready to go, because your adaptability is here. And so is slow down and breathe. So don't worry about it. You will be ready. You will be ready, Sag. So let's see what your fairy friends want to tell you. And then we will get a mantra, because mantras are life. So what do you want to tell Sagittarius? What would help Sag? All the things. What do you want to tell Sagittarius? Oh, still with the inner child. So you definitely are being led to fun. The fairies of protection are shielding you with a magical fairy ring of love and light. Practice psychic protection before embarking upon any spiritual work. And the inner child is telling you to play. Maybe it's connecting. Maybe it is meditation and connecting with your inner child. Maybe your inner child protects you. I believe so. Okay. Not to get all woo. Maybe a little woo. What is the mantra for the day? The mantra for the day. Take the time today to smell the flowers. Bring some flowers into your home. Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Owning my power inspires others to do the same. I am not afraid to shine. So that's definitely something you can say. I am not afraid to shine. Gang, gang. Bright like a diamond. Okay, Sagittarius, that's what I have for you. Have the best day ever.